Hello, hockey fans. Austin here, and this is it. We have finally arrived to the Stanley Cup Final. Game 1 is tonight. I've got your pregame report ready to go here. I'll be discussing the projected lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. I'll be discussing all the stats for both teams, all the numbers, some advanced analytics, some normal analytics, and of course, I'll be giving my player to watch and my game day prediction. As always, if you like these videos and you want to see more and you're excited for the Cup Finals, make sure you hit that like button and make sure to subscribe if you end up really liking this video today. And if you're not yet subscribed, I just want to let everyone know, friendly reminder, I will be live streaming every single game in the Stanley Cup Final. I will be doing live reaction and commentary. If you're not sure what my live streams look like, you can go and find my other live streams that I've done just to get a feel for what it's like, what the chat is like, the vibes. Very positive, by the way. If you're a Panthers fan and you're worried that you're going to come in here and we're going to jump all over you, I promise you, this is a very welcoming place for fans of all teams, Canucks fans, Stars fans, and Kings fans. We had a lot of fun with them in the chat, comments on videos. They were all really good sports. I really hope there's a lot of Panthers fans out there that are able to also engage with the community. We're going to have lots of fun. This is the most exciting time of the NHL season. This is the first time that as an Oilers fan, I've been able to watch my team in a Cup Final since 2006. I was 12 years old during that 06 run, and I am now 30. So, of course, my excitement level is at a pretty high level right now. My heart rate is sitting at, well, it looks like 110 just starting the recording of this video. That's how excited I am. So, without further ado, let's get started and go to the projected lineup here. So, of course, the series is tied 0-0. Now, what we see on the screen here, these lines, this is based on practice yesterday before all the players did their media availability. We have Nugent-Hopkins with McDavid and Hyman. Of course, they're going to stay together. Then we have Evander Kane with Leon Draisaitl and Dylan Holloway. That line has been reunited. In Game 6 against Dallas, you had Corey Perry up there. So we'll see how this, plays out. And then the third line, you had Warren Foegele. He's back in the lineup with Ryan McLeod and Corey Perry. We'll see if that stays together. We'll see if Chris Knoblauch, if he was just trying to play some mind games against Paul Maurice, that game within a game, just, bit of misdirection with how he's going to roll his lines. But this is what he had during practice. So fourth line, we had Janmark with Henrique and Brown, and I actually really like that bottom six. There is a really good mix of toughness, tenacity, speed, and skill in the Oilers' bottom six. Bringing Foegele back in the lineup, putting him on the third line with McLeod. I know Foegele, McLeod, and Perry, they don't generate a lot of goals, but they do generally play pretty well in their own zone, and they do create opportunities. I think as a line in the regular season, they played about 60 minutes together roughly, and they had an expected goals for percentage of about 59%, according to Natural Stat Trick. So that's a line that I'm looking forward to watching. And then with Janmark, Henrique, and Brown, of course, Janmark and Brown have been just lights out on the penalty kill, and they're chipping in offensively. Brown had 3 points in that series against the Dallas Stars. He had a goal and 2 assists, so you love to see that for Connor Brown. Then the extra forwards, Carrick, Ryan, and Gagne. Now, Carrick and Ryan, I do expect to see them play at some point in the series. Chris Knoblauch, he does rotate Sam Carrick and Derek Ryan in the lineup periodically. Depending how the Oilers play in Game 1, you may see one or both of Ryan and Carrick come in. Sam Gagne, he is like the extra forward. You will not see Sam Gagne play a game in the Cup Finals unless there are multiple injuries to Oilers forwards, which I really hope there won't be. Perry, he can make sure that there's no injuries. Evander Kane, he'll make sure that there's nobody getting hurt out there. We saw Janmark fight twice this season. So we have a good mix of toughness, skill, speed, and, defensive prowess in the Oilers forward group. Now, defensively, I want to talk about this. He had Ekholm and Bouchard together. That's good. And then Nurse and Ceci. Now, I don't actually know if they will start the game together. I don't know if that was just Knoblauch. Like I said, just a little bit of misdirection with the lines in practice before the media availability to get people talking about it. But he did have Nurse and Ceci back together. The Oilers, of course, they split Nurse and Ceci up in the last series against the Dallas Stars heading into Game 4, and the Oilers won Game 4, 5, and 6 with those two split. I thought Nurse and Kulak looked really well together. I liked the way they played together. I liked Kulak on the right side. He didn't look like he was out of his element. And then I liked Broberg a lot. I liked Broberg with Ceci. Now, of course, Ceci CC is CC at this point. The Oilers are in the Cup final. I'm not going to sit here and get mad at this decision. I will be very, very concerned if they start the game together and if they stick with them, even if they look like they're struggling. I really want to think that this is just mind games from Chris Knobloch and Paul Coffey. I want to think that Nurse and CC will not be reunited, like we've talked about so much on this channel and on, X.com or Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, analysts, reporters. We know Nurse and CC has not worked for years as a pair in the playoffs. So if you're Florida, obviously you were chomping at the bit to get your best players out against the Nurse and CC pair. That is the defense pair that you're going to be going after. However, I will say maybe because Darnell Nurse, maybe because you see his game starting to turn around after he was played with Kulak, after the media scrutiny, Darnell Nurse's game, you could tell that there was a clear shift in how he was playing for a positive. So maybe they're thinking Nurse will be able to stabilize that second pair, and him and CC will be able to lock things down. Edmonton is going to need their absolute best from both Darnell Nurse and Cody CC if they want any chance of surviving this series. And then, of course, the extra defenseman is Vinny Desharnais. Now, of course, depending how this series goes, how tough Florida ends up being in game one, we know how Florida plays. We know that they can target players sometimes. Sometimes they play on the edge. They play on the edge of, is that legal? Is that not legal? Vinny Desharnais, of course, depending on what happens in this game, you have Desharnais ready to go if you need him. Stuart Skinner will get the start for Edmonton. Now, let's take a look at the pregame numbers. The Oilers in the postseason, they are 12-6. Their expected goals for in all situations ranks fourth in the entire postseason, 54.28%. Power play ranks first, 37.3%. Penalty kill ranks first, 93.9%. They score 3.5 goals per game, which ranks second in the playoffs. They give up 2.61 goals per game, which ranks seventh. Team save percentage in all situations, 89.56%, which ranks eighth. And their team shooting percentage is at 12.09%, which ranks third. If the Oilers are going to want to sustain that shooting percentage, they're going to have to get a lot of shots on Sergei Bobrovsky. Obviously that game 6 win against Dallas, the Oilers only had 10 shots on goal. That is an outlier. That is the type of game that, the Oilers are not going to be playing very often, I would hope. But the Florida Panthers, they're going to have a lot to say about that. They have the best expected goals for percentage in all situations in the playoffs right now, 58.68%. This is a team that attacks you in waves, and they do not allow you to get into their zone very easily. Their power play ranks 6th at 23.3%. Their penalty kill ranks 2nd at 88.2%. Their penalty kill, everyone's talking about the Oilers' power play. Everyone's like, the officials have such a tough job trying to figure out how to, officiate because the Oilers' power play is so good. And I'm like, yeah, but the Florida Panthers penalty kill is really good. So, if you're an official in the Stanley Cup Final, whether you're Kazari or whoever is in there, I know they named the 4 refs or the 4 officials that are going to be officiating. The last thing that you should be worried about is, should I call a penalty here because this team could score on the power play? No. If someone is committing an infraction, you just call it. Both teams take 10 penalties in a game. Guess what? Put their penalty kill to work. Call the rule book. Of course, we know that they're gonna call the obvious stuff. The puck over glass, too many men on the ice, that sort of thing. So, just don't take the stupid obvious penalties. And obviously, they're going to let a lot go when it comes to the physical side. The officials, every year in the Stanley Cup Finals, they do let the teams play for the most part. The Florida Panthers, though, they are prone, if the Oilers are able to get on them early, let's say the Oilers have a 2 or 3 goal lead in the third period, Florida, they start to get mean, they start to get nasty, they try and muck it up after whistles, so we will see what the officials call after whistles. If there are post-whistle scrums, we're going to see as the series progresses, because the hate will ratchet up, and the heat will start to really turn up, dial it up to 10, so I will be curious to see how the series gets officiated, but in the end, I'm not worried about the officiating here. Both teams have a terrific penalty kill, and we'll go from there. Of course, also just moving on here, Florida, they score 3.24 goals per game, which ranks 4th. They only give up 2.29 goals per game, which ranks 3rd best in the playoffs. Team save percentage, 90.63%, which ranks 5th. And their team shooting percentage, 9.72%, which ranks 8th. So Florida, as I mentioned in my series preview video, they don't have your game breakers that score a lot as an individual. They score a lot as a team. Up and down that lineup, they have guys that can put the puck in the net, but you don't have a guy like, for the Oilers, Zach Hyman has 14 goals. Draisaitl has 10 goals. I know McDavid only has 5, but, the Oilers have players that they rely on for a big bulk of their scoring. The Florida Panthers have a lot of guys. So for Florida, their job is going to be, trying to figure out who they're going to try and shut down, who Barkov is going to be matched up against. Florida has home ice nice advantage in game one, and we'll go from there. My player to watch tonight is going to be Stuart Skinner. He's been off for almost a week. Well, both teams have been off for almost a week. But for the Oilers, Stuart Skinner, I want to know what he looks like coming out. And with, there could be a little bit of rust here with the time off. And of course, his first Stanley Cup Final appearance as a goaltender. Last year, Sergei Bobrovsky, he was here. He played in the finals against Vegas. For Stuart Skinner, want to see how he responds. I want to see, how he plays early in the game. I think both teams are going to be a little rusty. I think there's going to be defensive breakdowns, and Stuart Skinner's got to be ready to make some saves early because Florida, they're going to be wanting to jump on Edmonton as quickly as possible. And when it comes to my game day prediction, who do I think is going to win? Well, I honestly think, with the time off, for both teams, the fact Florida has been at home for quite a while now, like 9 or 10 days, if you go back to their series against the Rangers. The Oilers, they just got into Florida 2 days ago. I think sometimes the home team just gets a little comfortable. The players get a little comfortable in their own houses with their families. When it becomes a mental thing, not saying that Florida won't win, but I'm just thinking the Oilers are going to take game one here. However, a lot of this comes down to many variables, how Edmonton starts, how Florida starts, what the crowd energy is like, and how Stuart Skinner plays. This is going to be key. Goaltending is key in this series, and Stuart Skinner, player to watch. But I do think Edmonton's going to come out and try and assert themselves and take the first game on the road and try and set themselves up as best as they can for success in this series. What are your game day predictions? I want to know all of your game day thoughts, whether you're a Panthers fan, an Oilers fan, or a fan of any other team. Let me know what you think game one is going to be like down in the comment section below. Give me a score prediction, player to watch, that sort of thing. And like I mentioned, I will be live streaming the game tonight, so make sure you hit like on the video today. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the little bell. That way you're notified of all my future videos and live streams. And I can't wait to get this thing started. Let's go Oilers.